And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Go ahead and say it, Ed. Go Tigers!
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
You like that? You like that?
F it. Jamar's down there somewhere.
In the New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport.
No!
Splash Brothers. Yeah.
It's playoff. Keep going, Brace.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
What is up, guys? Dirty Boot Sports, and we are back with another episode. This is episode 214. This is one that I'm going solo on. Peyton and Chance, we've all been kind of busy. Really, all the guys. It's been a busy football year. We haven't really got to record as much as we've wanted to, but I want to get a little podcast out here tonight. Just talk some football. And by tonight, I mean it's the middle of the day. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, I'm just going to talk some football. Preview Week 11 for the NFL season. Yeah, it's been a wild NFL season. You got the undefeated Chiefs. You got the good stories like the Lions, the Vikings, Steelers are 7-2 somehow. Lamar's having another MVP type year. Bengals are underachieving. Bills are playing really well. The Niners kind of suck. The Saints fired their coach, thank God. The Commanders are shockingly good. There's been a lot of fun storylines that I'm going to dive into on this episode. It is week 11, so you're getting towards the end of. You're on that back half of the regular season. Trade deadline has passed. You only got 4 weeks in your fantasy league left until the playoffs. So it's really that time where you're starting to lock in and like really pay attention to these games a little bit more than you have been. But yeah, it's been a fun year. I'm going to just talk some football. Like I said, it's been a busy time for all of us, really. Like we've planned out times. My voice is going out. I don't know what's happening. We've planned out times to record, and then something comes up, and it's not as fun to just do it with 2 people or something like that. So we like to at least have at least 3 of us. Just that way you have more differing opinions and different viewpoints on things. It makes for a fun podcast, and it's just been a tough year for that. So hopefully, as the year gets a little bit later, we'll get to preview some playoff games and playoff pictures, stuff like that. Whatever's happening towards this back half, maybe we can get on track. Like I said, it hasn't been the year we wanted it to be in terms of content, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. We're not giving up on this or anything. I still have some other plans for the podcast. Crossroads still going strong. Chasing the trophy. Derek's a monster with that stuff. He puts out content all the time. I think he sent me a freaking Word document from, I think, the hospital, and he's having his baby the other day. And he's always working on it. Very appreciative of that. Sound Scouts, me, Aston, and Rayleigh been doing some cool stuff with that, and also have some plans. We still do our movie reviews with the regulars. It's not been exactly what we wanted, but it still has been. It's been a good year in terms of content. Like we're not just straight up putting nothing out. But yeah, I do miss doing these just straight up DBS episodes where we just talk sports amongst ourselves in the upper room. And I said the upper room like I'm going to heaven. But I mean the studio. And yeah, it's just those vibes back then were just the best. So hopefully we get back to that one day. But if not, hey, we're going to keep rocking and rolling with what we got. So yeah, today I'm going to talk week 11 of the NFL season. We have a great game Thursday night. I'm recording this at about 2:30 on Thursday. Commanders-Eagles, 7-3 versus 7-2 in Philadelphia. Like, you can't get much better than that. It's going to be a great game, I'm sure. But before, let's do an ad read. So, Big Reed BBQ started as a family recipe in 1986. Our mild flavor is right on time, and our spicy is just enough heat. Owner Ken Reed and Director of Marketing Andre Leonard say you can get our sauce at Doug Demona Farm and Feed, Time to Shine Detail, the Salty Brahma, and the Equipment Store. So shout out to Big Reed as well. Been with us since the start. Love their sauce. I use it all the time. They also have a new pineapple habanero flavor, I think. I have not got to try that yet. Looking forward to it, though. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with my voice. I guess I picked a bad time to actually go for this solo episode, but we're gonna rock and roll through it. We're gonna get through it, as Coach Campbell would tell me. Old Dan, he would tell me just to keep fighting through the adversity. I'm sure. Love our Lions. But yeah, Thursday night, Commanders and Eagles. So the Commanders are 7-3. Eagles are 7-2. Both teams having pretty good years, even though with the 7-2 record, the Eagles have had some close games and stuff, and there's been some times where, on First Take or one of the national shows, they're talking, hey, Sirianni's gone, and it's kind of crazy to hear that for a team that's 7-2, but there has been some adversity between him and Jalen Hurts. Don't really know what's going on there. But on the other side, Commanders, Jaden Daniels has been perfect. Like, he's been just about as good as you could hope for a rookie quarterback. Did have that one injury, but luckily didn't have much go wrong. I think he missed maybe 1 week. But yeah, he's been fine. Playing really good football. He's finally unlocked Scary Terry to the way that I think everybody in the world knew he could be. He just has never had a quarterback. Jaden's thrown 9 touchdowns this year. 6 of them have been to Terry. So you love to see that. They just made the big move from Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints. That's a move that I know Saints fans were happy for because we've been wanting to sell these pieces, and we finally did it. And, I think a lot of people that are Saints fans also deep down root for the Commanders because of JD5. So it's a nice landing spot. Haven't gotten to see him play for them yet. I don't think he's playing tonight either. But at least it's a piece that they're going to get to use going forward and down the stretch as they make a playoff run. But tonight's game, I think it's going to be a great game. It's got Philadelphia favored by 4. I would probably lean Philly here. I have seen a stat where I think the Commanders are 7-0 versus teams under 500, and they're 0-3 versus the teams above 500. Just lost last week to the Steelers. I can't really think of their other losses. Week 1 they lost, but I forget who they even played. Oh, it was Tampa. So that was Baker. And then they lost to the Ravens. So, three pretty good losses in terms of competition. But you do have some wins like the Bengals that do stand out as well, which, yeah, the Bengals are under 500, but they're a really good football team still. I would probably lean Philadelphia here. I do root for Philadelphia a little bit more than the Commanders, but both teams I do enjoy watching. Cliff Kingsbury's really got the offense rolling for Washington. Kellen Moore's done a pretty good job for Philly as well. Ever since A.J. Brown's been back, between him and Devonta Smith, it's just a real two-headed monster. Saquon Barkley's been everything you could have hoped for, if not more. 991 yards on the ground already this year, and 6 touchdowns, even though Jalen Hurts has taken so many of them as well. So it's been a good year to be a Philly fan, I would say, so far. But this is the type of game where if you lose this one, you kind of lose some hope in terms of like how far you can go. But at the same time, if you do win it, you turn to an 8-2 squad. You just got a big win on a Thursday night game at home. Then you're really starting to feel maybe this team has another Super Bowl run in them. But I think it's going to be a good game regardless. I would lean Philadelphia, maybe to cover the spread as well, 4 points. So let's move on to Sunday. Jaguars-Lions. What a game there. 8-1 versus 2-8. Trevor Lawrence is out again. I think Mac Jones is going to be the starting quarterback yet again. They just picked up... who was it? Was it C.J. Beathard maybe that they got? So they picked up somebody from like a practice squad or something like that. And the Lions are, I would say, the best team in football. And I'm not really sure it's a debate for many people. Yes, they did lose a game. It was to Baker. Sometimes when you play Baker, you just got to tip your hat to one of the best quarterbacks in football history. But the Lions, they're winning games that no team has any sense winning. On Sunday Night Football against the Texans, against a really good Texans defense in Houston, like Nothing about that game was easy going in. I think the Lions were still favored by like 2 points. Then Jared Goff throws 5 interceptions. I believe 4 of them in the first half. C.J. Stroud's playing really good football. Joe Mixon didn't really get the run game going, but he's still effective in all his ways. Like, John Mechie's getting big plays. Everything was going against the Lions, yet they still somehow found a freaking way to win. Like, down by like 16 or 17 points, something like that. And they just found a way to win. Game-winning field goal from Jake Bates. Barely snuck in as well. Should have hit the crossbar. I mean, it should have hit the uprights probably. But it did sneak in, and that just felt like kind of like a destiny kick. Like, it went in, and you're like, yeah, there's something different about this team. Like, they're special. And I think that's how most people feel about Detroit, not only in Detroit, but all around the NFL. I think a lot of people are really starting to buy into this team. And yeah, they're the Lions, but these aren't the Lions of old. And it's our Detroit Lions, as we like to say on this podcast. We've been loving them since Hard Knocks, and man, they look like they're just on a war path to the championship. Because in that NFC, I don't think the Niners can beat them this year. I really don't. Now, you might get a team like the Vikings with that physical defense that could sneak up, but at the end of the day, do you trust Sam Darnold? No. The Packers, we're speaking just NFC North here. Other teams, maybe the Falcons have some talent. Cardinals are a sneaky team this year as well. I don't know, but at the end of the day, man, well, we also got to mention Philadelphia and Washington. But nothing feels like what these Lions are doing. The Lions just feel like they're on a different level right now. Ben Johnson's cooking up incredible plays. Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, the Sun God, J-Mo's playing well as well. Sam Laporta's barely done anything, but he's still one of the best tight ends in football. That O-line is incredible. You just got Zadarius Smith that's going to add and try to replace some of that Hutchinson production. Yeah, it's just a really, really good football team that's built as good as you can hope for, honestly. So give me the Lions by a billion Sunday against the Jags and Mac Jones. The Jags are just waiting for the season to end so they can fire Doug Peterson. That's pretty much all they're hoping for. But shout out to BTJ, having a great year for them. Another game Sunday, the Clay Bowl. My 2 favorite teams, the Saints and the Browns, having remarkable seasons, 3-7 and 2-7. Also very fun looking at this. The leaders. You have Alvin Kamara, the rushing leader for both teams, 700 yards. Alvin Kamara, the receiving leader for 400 yards this year. He has 51 catches as well. That's insane. But yeah, this is going to be an ugly game. Jameis back home starting for the Browns since the Watson injury. Saints have Derek Carr back, have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who looks like a stud. I mean, I'm sure he'll have like 1 catch on Sunday now, but he had a really good game. Yeah, it's going to be an ugly one. If you're a Saints fan, you're hoping that they lose, but they're definitely going to win. So get prepared for that. We're going to start getting a little bit of hope for some reason. Even though Olave's out, we just traded our best corner. You have so many injuries on the team. You want to lose, and we're going to find a way to win like 6 games this year. This is the worst. It's just the absolute worst. But who cares? Who even cares who wins this game? Neither team is worth anything this year. Hopefully the Browns win, because I would like the Saints to lose a little bit more, but who cares? Packers, Bears, this should be an interesting one. Bears just fired their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. So typically whenever there's a firing of an OC, DC, even a head coach, you kind of are a little bit scared if you're the opposition that week, because you kind of you see it as like extra motivation that week, something like that. I could see that happening this week for the Bears, playing at home versus Green Bay, big game, 5.5-point underdogs. The Packers are playing well, but not incredible, honestly. Jordan Love's definitely having some growing pains at times, but there's also flashes of where you see a really, really good quarterback. Caleb Williams, it feels just like he's another Bears quarterback at some point. It's pretty rough, and you're really hoping the change of offensive coordinator is going to change that. Offensive line certainly isn't helping him, but with the weapons you have, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze, plus Cole Kmet, like, you got to get something going if you're this offense. I'm not giving up on Caleb at all, because I do think he's got tons and tons of talent. You saw it in the London game earlier this year. Like, he's got plenty of talent to be a very, very good quarterback, but it's just like the circumstances that he has found himself in. It's just it's Bears quarterbacks. That's all you can really say. It's what you've seen from Jay Cutler, what you've seen from Justin Fields, Rex Grossman, Kyle Orton. Like, so many guys have gone there, had plenty of talent, and then they just struggle. And it just, now obviously Caleb's much more talented than any of them, but at the end of the day, it's a Chicago quarterback until it ain't. That's the only way you got to look at it. Packers, on the other hand, 6-3, as opposed to the Bears, who are 4-5. 6-3 on the road. Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, all the J's that you can think of. It's a really good team. I would like to see a little bit more from them. I would like to see them win, one of those really big games. I think they did have a Texans win, at the last second, but then you play the Vikings, you lose. You play the Eagles, you lose. You play the Lions, and you don't even compete, honestly, at home as well versus the Lions. And then the other games, the Cardinals win looks pretty good. Rams win isn't bad, but really they haven't won many games that they shouldn't have, and which that's a good thing for them. You win in the games that you're supposed to. But at the end of the day, for a team that is wanting to, be a real contender in the NFC, maybe not this year, but very, very soon, you got to start winning some of them tougher games. I would probably lean, my heart tells me to lean Chicago here. At home without the OC, I think the fan base is going to be really behind Caleb. My heart leans Chicago, to be honest. So I'm going to go Chicago here. And then let's move on to the next game, which is Vikings versus Titans. Kind of a shocker that this is only a 6-point spread. It is in Nashville, but still, man, the Vikings are so much better than the Titans this year. And you saw last week where Sam Darnold threw like 4 picks in the end zone. Like, it was insane. Every time you're like, oh, this is Justin Jefferson's time. Oh, this is it. Nope, Sam Darnold throws a pick. But despite all of that, despite 0 offensive touchdowns, the Vikings still beat the freaking Jags. They won 12-7 on 4 field goals. And that's one of those games where you watch that and you're like, yeah, Sam Darnold was awful. Yeah, they literally didn't score a touchdown. But at the end, they still got through all of that and found a way to win. And that's one of the things where, yeah, it should be like a discouraging performance, but at the same time, it's an encouraging win. Because if you can win in that way, what happens when Sam's playing average football? Like, what happens when, you score 3 touchdowns, which is, I would say the norm. But that defense is legit. Even if it is Mac Jones and the Jags, keeping any team to 7 in the NFL is impressive. And the Vikings are just, Brian Flores deserves all the credit in the world. They're having a really good season defensively. TJ Hawkinson's back as well, already making an impact. So yeah, I think the Vikings are going to win this one, and I would definitely pick them to cover the spread. Will Levis is back at quarterback for the Titans. He threw 1 touchdown last week, and then I don't know if he had another positive yard. Felt like everything was bad after that. But yeah, give me the Vikings here. Raiders, Dolphins. Dolphins with a low-key shocker, I would say, Monday night. Playing against the Rams in LA at 2-6. Rams kind of hot. Dolphins can't win. And the Dolphins go in and win. And it wasn't really a question, in my opinion. It felt like all Dolphins the entire game. So that was an impressive win. Raiders, on the other hand, just trying to wait till the end of the year so they can fire Pierce again. Minshew, just you're done with that experiment. It just doesn't work. You've already traded Devontae. Zamir White ain't been much. Jacoby Myers has been fine. Brock Bowers has been a stud. That's a positive. But still, there's not really much positivity from that Raiders organization right now. Maybe you get Shedeur Sanders. Maybe that's what changes your franchise. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I just don't really know if Vegas has the the talent to surround him right now and make him what he needs to be. But I would definitely lean Dolphins here. 7-point favorites. They still have one of the best offenses in football at the end of the day, I would say. Devon A-Chain's had a really good year. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith's been playing well. Mike McDaniel calling plays. Like, they still use other motion. Raheem Mostert as well. Like, there's a lot of things to be excited about with that Dolphins offense, and I wouldn't be shocked if you see them, pick up a couple wins and get to rolling. You beat the Raiders, you beat the Patriots at Packers on Thanksgiving night, the Jets, Texans. Like, they got some winnable games. Like, their season's not over. It really is not. And it's in that AFC, which has been pretty rough this year, so they could sneak through and be a playoff team. Rams-Patriots is the next game. Rams, like I said, coming off a pretty... They were hot going into that Monday night game, and then they lose at home versus the Dolphins, and it was just very discouraging. It really was. You got Cooper Kupp back, you got Puka back for a full game after he didn't punch somebody. Kyron Williams been playing well. O-line gained 2 starters. They were getting healthy. Defense been playing better and better, and then you just look awful. It was really embarrassing against a Dolphins team that so many people had already written off. That really felt like the game for the Rams, where you get over 500, you go 5-4, and then you go to the Patriots the next week, and you're supposed to get this win streak going and pick up some more wins, and that felt like a step back for sure. But the Rams are pretty talented at the end of the day. I think they're in last place in their division, but it's a team that I don't think anybody is fully writing off yet. It's a Rams team that they're definitely scary. Playing up against the Patriots, who ever since Drake May came along, they're at the least they're watchable. That's a positive to say about the Patriots, which honestly hasn't been a thing to say since, I would say, Brady left. Even though Mac Jones led them to the playoffs, they really weren't a fun team to watch. But yeah, the Patriots, Drake May's playing well. They just beat the Bears at home versus the Rams. Like, this isn't a game that you would expect the Rams to dominate it, but I don't think this is one that you can just straight up give them the win for. The Patriots defense is playing well. Drake May's showing flashes. He hasn't really gotten it consistently yet, but he's also, that receiving core is pretty brutal. I would definitely lean Rams here. It's a 5-point spread. I would say the Rams probably win, especially off of a bad loss like that, but it wouldn't shock me either way. Colts 4-6 versus the Jets 3-7. The Joe Flacco experiment is officially over for the 3rd time this year. They're back to Anthony Richardson playing at the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, and just the disappointment that this season has been for New York. I was dumb enough to pick them as my Super Bowl contender. I had them playing the Lions in the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen, I do not think. Now, they could get hot and win some games. Who knows? Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall. Come on, man. That's a great team. But no, it's been a rough year for them. It really has been. And it's not like they've just straight up lost games bad. Like, the Cardinals game was bad, but you've had some games where, against the Patriots, you probably should have won. Who are the other games? The Bills, you should have won that game. 23-20. 10-9 versus the Broncos. 23-17 versus the Vikings. Yeah, there's definitely some wins where you could flip this on the other side and you're a 6-4 team. But yeah, at the end of the day, they're the Jets. They're 3-7. Playing against Anthony Richardson, who I believe in still. I think if you just give him the time and the reps, that he can show some improvements. But it's been a pretty rough start so far to his career. Jonathan Taylor's looking back and pretty healthy, so that is definitely a positive for the Colts. I don't really know which way to lean here. Jets are a 4-point favorite, maybe at home, but yeah, give me the Jets to win this one. This one doesn't really matter. It's an ugly game. Ravens Steelers 7-3 versus 7-2 in Pittsburgh. Very big game here. Pittsburgh, ever since they went to Russell Wilson, they're 3-0. Going against the Ravens, who are just look like a juggernaut. Lamar 24 touchdowns to 2 picks, throwing. Derrick Henry's already over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. Zay Flowers has been good. You pick up Deontay Johnson, which it seems like there's already some adversity there. He's doing cryptic tweets, but I still think he can form some type of role there. Rashad Bateman's having a great year. Mark Andrews is back. Isaiah Likely's there. Defense is balling out. Looked like Kyle Hamilton avoided a serious injury as well. The Ravens look really, really good. They look like they're good enough to make the Super Bowl yet again. Now, they've looked that good many times before, and they didn't. So you can't really expect too much out of them yet, but the Ravens look really good. Steelers, on the other hand, Russell Wilson, George Pickens, that's been a dynamic duo. You had Mike Williams as well, who's another deep threat, big body guy that you can just trust Russ to throw it deep to. Najee Harris looked pretty good this year. That Steelers defense, though, is what carries them. They've been lights out. TJ Watt's a dog. Secondary's playing well. Joey Porter Jr. is a very good cornerback. It's a talented defense, as it always is and always will be, in my opinion. They're just going to find a way to be good, especially under Mike Tomlin. I don't know who wins this game. I would certainly think Baltimore, just because I trust them more. And I know there's this stat where Baltimore's like 5-1. 1-5 against the Steelers in the past 4 years. But so many of them games Lamar has missed. So this kind of feels like maybe a little bit more important game for Lamar to kind of, prove that narrative wrong. And yeah, I know he's always going to be motivated, especially against a division rival like the Steelers. So I would definitely lean Lamar here. Into the 3 o'clock slate, we got Falcons-Broncos. Kind of a big game, which is kind of shocking to say, between two teams that, I think people had a little bit of high hopes for the Falcons, but the Broncos have been pretty good. I mean, they're 5-5 and a blocked field goal away from being 6-4 and beating the undefeated Chiefs last week. Falcons are 6-4 though, in Denver at 3 o'clock. It's a big game. It really is. Denver is the favorite, but I'm definitely leaning Atlanta here. I think last week that's a tough loss to bounce back from if you're Denver. You go into Kansas City and you do everything you can to beat this team that just feels like they can't be beaten. And then, how many times do you even see a kick blocked anymore? And they do it. And that won them the game. Kansas City just finds new ways to win every week, it feels like. And I think Atlanta, coming off a loss against New Orleans, going to be a little extra motivated to come in and prove themselves. I'm definitely taking Atlanta here. I think Atlanta's still one of the better teams in the NFC. They got plenty of talent. I think Kirk's a fine quarterback. Bijan's looking great. Darnell Mooney's been everything I expected him to be, if not more. He's been an elite receiver this year. Drake London's great. Ray McLeod's having good games. Kyle Pitts, they got a lot of talent on that offense, and the defense is pretty good as well. So I'd lean Atlanta here, and yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Atlanta makes a conference championship run still. Let's see, Seattle and the 49ers. Pretty big game as well. You saw this game on Thursday night a couple weeks ago, but Seattle is now 4-5, having lost a couple games in a row, I believe. They've lost 5 out of their last 6. The only game they won was at Atlanta. And then the Niners just got CMC back, just won on a game-winning field goal against the Bucks. But still, even at 5-4, they are the Niners. But there's just something where it doesn't feel like the same Niners team that we're used to. They don't feel unstoppable, is pretty much what I'm saying. They seem human, and with one of the best rosters in football, it really is a shock. Fred Warner on that defense leading the way, Nick Bosa, especially after Trump got elected, like you expect him to just be incredible. I can't even think of the other names now on that defense. I know you just got Lenore at cornerback that just got a very big extension, but that defense is always going to be good. I think Javon Hargrove is there at defensive tackle, and then on offense, you got Brock Purdy. You got Deebo Samuel. You got Christian McCaffrey. George Kittle's been incredible. Trent Williams, one of the best tackles in football. You did lose Ayuk to the ACL, which really does hurt, especially because that was Purdy's number one guy, in my opinion. He looked to him a lot more than Deebo. But Ricky Pearsall looking pretty good at receiver already. Juwan Jennings had some big games this year. So that San Fran team, even though they're 5-4, they're probably going to find a way to win the division and make the conference championship, just because that is who San Francisco is. And they're going to be that until somebody stops them. I think this is the year that Detroit stops them, but in their division, I don't think many people have faith in the Cardinals beating them. Seattle is 4-5. It's been a tale of two seasons, I guess. They started out pretty hot. Then they lost that game to Detroit where they just couldn't stop anything. And then now Geno's on the run. Not looking great, but DK's coming back this week, and you're hoping that'll get the offense going. Jackson Smith and Jigba looked great last week, or the last week they played. They had a bye. Kenneth Walker trying to get back into things. Hasn't had an incredible season, but he's been solid. Tyler Lockett's still consistent. There's some things to be excited for Seattle, but this definitely feels like a game that they have to win. And they're a 6.5-point dog, so that doesn't really excite you a lot if you're a Seattle fan. But I think they can keep it close because it does feel like a must-win game. And we'll see if Seattle can get it done. I would lean Seattle a little bit in this game, but I'm just really low on the Niners this year. And then the big game of the week, Chiefs-Bills. In Buffalo at 3:25 on CBS. You're going to have Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. I hope it's going to be very fun. I think the Bills win this game. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I think they do. This feels like the time that the Bills finally do it. 4-0 Chiefs on the road, 4-0 Bills at home. Josh Allen's had an incredible year. James Cook's playing well. You got Shakir. You got Keon Coleman, who might be back. You got Amari Cooper, who might be back. That Bills offense is playing well. You don't have Stephon Diggs, but they're still the Bills at the end of the day. They have one of the best quarterbacks in football who, honestly, besides Lamar, is playing the best quarterback in football right now. I think Josh Allen is at that level. He's been awesome. He really has been. And then the Chiefs just find ways to win. It's never pretty. They're playing ugly games. Mahomes has like 12 touchdowns to 9 picks or something. It's not a good stat line at all. But you might be getting Pacheco back. Kareem Hunt's been great. Travis Kelce, ever since Rashee Rice went down, has been on another level. You got DeAndre Hopkins. There's a lot to be excited about for this Chiefs offense going forward. But I do think that the Bills are just better this week. The Chiefs are still probably the best team in football until someone beats them. But the Bills, I do think, have their number this week. 2-point spread, I'd take them to cover it. Bengals-Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Chargers 6-3. Jim Harbaugh's just gone in and changed that culture immediately. You trade Keenan Allen. You trade Mike Williams, or you cut Mike Williams. You bring in J.K. Dobbins, you bring in Gus Edwards, and you just say, we're the Chargers, we're going to run the football. We're playing Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman football, and you have to stop us. And no one really has. I don't think they've allowed a team over 20 points on defense, which has been incredibly impressive. Versus the Bengals this week, who Bengals are clicking on offense, they just can't get a stop on defense. So it's like which side is more powerful? Is that Chargers defense that good, or is that Bengals offense that good? Looks like T. Higgins might be back. Jamar Chase has been an absolute dog this year. Joe Burrow, I think he might be leading the NFL in passing yards. 24 touchdowns as well. They've been incredible. They just haven't had the help. But this definitely feels like a must-win game for them in SoFi on Sunday Night Football against a division opponent, not a division opponent, a conference opponent. So, a win against the Chargers boosts them down a little bit in the standings while it sends the Bengals up. This definitely feels like a very, very big game for Cincinnati. So I would lean Cincinnati here, but man, them Chargers, they're impressive. And it's very fun seeing the impact that Jim Harbaugh can make on a team in just, a few months. And Justin Herbert's playing great as well. They've got a bright future. I think they're a little bit too ahead of themselves right now, but they're a good football team. And then Monday night, you got Texans versus Cowboys. This game should be a lot more exciting than it is, but it's the Texans versus Cooper Rush. C.J. Stroud does have Nico Collins back this week for the Texans, so that's an exciting thing. Stephon Diggs, though, out for the year with his ACL. You got Nico, you got Tank Dell, you got Dalton Schultz. Joe Mixon looks as good as he ever has. That defense is very impressive as well. The pass rush is really impressive between Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. D'Amico Ryans just knows how to coach a defense. He really does. Then the Cowboys, their season's over. Cooper Rush is the quarterback for the rest of the year, it seems, until hopefully they give Trey Lance an opportunity. But I don't really know if that will happen. But Dak is out for the year, which does suck. It's hard to imagine a way in which the Cowboys win this game. They're 0-4 at home, playing at home on Monday night. If they win, it would be one of the bigger upsets of the season, in my opinion. I do think the Texans win this game and win it pretty easily. That's all the games for this week. I'll talk a little bit briefly about the bye week teams. You have the Giants on a bye. Rumors are that Daniel Jones is done. That Daniel Jones has played his last snap for the Giants, maybe. If that happens, we'll see. But it does look like there might be some type of change-up. He just lost in, Germany to the Panthers. So not a lot of optimism right now if you're a Giants fan. But you have Malik Neighbors, I guess. I guess that's a positive. Tyrone Tracy has looked good. The defense has been pretty solid. Dexter Lawrence has played really well. Just for the Giants, it's just when can I get out of this Daniel Jones contract and move on to a new era? You probably should have drafted Drake May or J.J. McCarthy or somebody in that draft this past year. That's what they should have done. Cardinals, though, looking really good this year. Kyler Murray's starting to, get in a rhythm with things. Trey McBride's a dog. Marvin Harrison having up and down games, but he's been pretty solid. James Conner playing really well. That Cardinals team under Jonathan Gannon, really impressive. I hope they can keep it up. They're a fun team to root for. And that was a pretty big statement win against the Jets this past week. But they have a pretty tough schedule coming up. I mean, you got Seattle, Vikings, and then Seattle again. So we'll see if Arizona can keep it up going forward. Tampa Bay getting back Mike Evans hopefully after their bye, but they have lost 4 straight games. But they really, honestly, for the situation that they were in, without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, to lose by 10 to the Ravens, 5 to the Falcons, 6 to the Chiefs, 3 to the Niners. Like, you gotta clap your hands to them and just tip your hat. It's been an impressive season for Tampa Bay in that offense, even though they don't really have the record to show for it. They're 4-6. But coming out of the bye, you got the Giants, Panthers, Raiders, Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. You can get on a winning streak here if you get Mike Evans back out there and you get things rolling. Cade Otton's been great. It does suck that Godwin is out, but you got to do what you got to do. I still believe my boy Baker, so we'll see what they can do. And then the Panthers, a little bit of optimism, I guess. Bryce Young came back as the starter, won 2 straight games. got Dennis Allen fired. But guess what? You get to come out of the bye to the Chiefs, Bucks, Eagles, and yeah, you're probably losing all three of those. So we'll see. But hey, as long as Bryce Young is playing better, then I guess it's a positive season for the Panthers, where maybe you're like, maybe next year, we give them a full offseason under the head coach again. Maybe get some new weapons in. You signed Chuba Hubbard, who's playing really, really well. Maybe Jonathan Brooks sparks some new life into the offense as well. Yeah, you'll see. We'll see what the Panthers do, but for now, they're a frisky team that, playing improved football, and that's pretty much all you can ask for if you're a Panthers fan right now, given the situation that they are in. But yeah, that is it for all of these teams in the NFL. Like I said, I just wanted to talk, just wanted to get some type of content out here and talk some football, just given the craziness that the season has been and craziness that our schedules have been as well, and we just haven't really had the opportunity to record as much. So sorry for all that, but we're hoping that we'll get some more out there in the future, and as the season gets towards the back end, we'll hopefully talk some college as well. It's been a pretty disappointing couple weeks, I guess, if you're an LSU fan. That Bama game was a disaster, but I'm sure we have plenty of other things in the college football world to talk about. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one. So yeah, keep chasing that trophy, I guess, as well. Keep going to them crossroads. What else is there going to be? Keep listening to that music with them Sound Scouts. I don't know. Just keep it going. Keep listening to all our podcasts. Putting out a lot of content on social media as well. Trying to get some more TikTok ideas out there maybe for the future. Those have been doing pretty well when we post them. So yeah, keep us on the lookout. So all right.
This ain't how it's supposed to be. It should be just you and me.